Hello, happy Thursday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Sorry we're a couple minutes late. We were having technical difficulties. We had a bunch of beautiful photos to show you, and my computer's just not cooperating. So no photos tonight, but we have lots over on our blog and more coming in the magazine. So don't worry, we will be able to showcase all of Danny's beautiful photos to you.
Well, thank you.
Hi, if you haven't met us before, my name's Stephanie. I'm the CEO here at WDW Magazine.
And I'm Danny. I'm the creative director for WDW Magazine.
Last week, we got a really amazing opportunity. Disney invited us, thank you, Disney, down to a preview of Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at EPCOT. So tonight, we wanted to give you some spoilers, spoiler alert, and we wanted to share our experience with the queue and the ride and the gift shop and the whole new area of EPCOT that this is really, I guess it's not new. I guess it's a recycled area. It's an upcycled area.
It's been refreshed. It's been
Yes.
repurposed. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, EPCOT is undergoing huge changes. The park is undergoing a multi-year update. They are rebranding from what we've been calling Future World East and West. They're going to be called World Discovery and World Nature,
And then-
depending on where you
Yeah,
are.
World Nature is the side with the seas and the land and imagination. World Discovery is the side with Test Track, Mission Space, and now Cosmic Rewind. And the center is World Celebration.
So big changes coming to EPCOT, including this new Guardians attraction, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which takes the place of what used to be Ellen's Universe of Energy. For everyone who remembers that wonderful air-conditioned break at EPCOT.
It was a wonderful air-conditioned break. I really love the new attraction, but I'm not going to lie. I missed my 45-minute air conditioning, seating, some entertainment. That's hard to come by at Disney.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's hard to get both a place to sit down and air conditioning.
yes.
Like you can usually get one or the other, but not both.
Yeah.
Ellen's was fun, but it was dated and it was time for something new. And the Guardians attraction is really something amazing.
Boy, is it new. Not just new temporally, it's opening this month, but you've never seen anything like it.
No.
Nothing at all.
So just to be very clear, before we get any deeper into this review, this is going to be spoiler full. We are going to be telling you all about the ride vehicle, the story, the queue.
Not every single detail, because we'll leave something. Well, I don't think we've experienced everything there so much, but we'll leave some mysteries for you. But we are going to get into spoiler territory. So if that's not your jam,
bookmark this video. Go ride the ride when you get a chance and come back and hear all of our thoughts about it.
I see lots of people commenting that air conditioning is the greatest at EPCOT. And you know what? Guess what? There is air conditioning in the queue of the Guardians ride, and you'll probably be in there for 45 minutes or longer. So don't you worry, you're still going to get that, but no seat this time until you get on the ride.
That's true. But there's lots of really interesting stuff in the queue.
It's so cool. Yeah. So we're going to answer all of your questions. Pop them in. Our wonderful social media coordinator, Allie, is hanging out in the wings. She's going to be popping the questions over to me and Danny so that we can answer them. And we're just going to take you through all of the basics that you'll need to know to find your way and get your first rides and second rides and third rides and a million rides in on this new attraction. So the first thing is, where in EPCOT can you find this?
So, like we mentioned, this is in what they are now calling World Discovery, what was formerly Future World West. Did I get that right?
I don't know. I could never keep the west and east straight.
So when you're at EPCOT, head toward the part of the park that has Test Track, Mission Space, Space 220.
Yeah.
You can't miss this new attraction. They have built a giant Nova Star Blaster ship. For people who are familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, these are the sort of star-shaped yellow ships that can all link up together. So they've erected what I assume is a life-size Star Blaster.
I assume. I did not get clarification on that, but it looks pretty life-size. So if you're in EPCOT, you have test track here, mission spaces set up here, and then down here is where you will find, it's really to the side if you're thinking like Spaceship Earth, World Showcase, test track, mission space, and then where you're going to find the new Guardians attraction.
It is very close to the new Connections Cafe
and Creation Shop. So if you walk up to Spaceship Earth and then you see the breezeway where Connections and Creations is, walk right through that and then look to the left. That's where you're going to find this. It's not, well, at least when we were there, and I don't think this is going to change, there's not a big marquee on top that says Guardians of the Galaxy, go here. Much like we've seen in Pandora with the attractions and in Galaxy's Edge with the attractions, you don't walk in, it's not like Flight of Passage. It says that you're going to the Alpha Centauri base, and it has the little, their little logo instead of the Mickey logo for you to tap your magic band onto. It's the same thing here. It says it's the Wonders of Xandar Pavilion.
This is personally my favorite, or one of my favorite aspects of this new attraction. So to keep in theming with the spirit of EPCOT and with the World Showcase that we all know and love, with the countries represented from around the world, this new Xandar Pavilion is what they're calling the first Outer World Showcase Pavilion. And so like Steph is saying, you won't see signage directing you to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. You'll see signage directing you to the new Xandar Pavilion. Think of it how like Frozen is inside the Norway Pavilion.
Yeah.
Guardians Cosmic Rewind is inside the Xandar Pavilion.
And what's really cool is, again, when you go to use your Lightning Lane or your Genie Plus and you to tap your
when you go to
magic
the touch
band,
points to tap in,
it is the logo for the Xandar Pavilion, which I think is really cool. It looks like all of those classic EPCOT logos that they had for World of Motion and Communicore, and they're really bringing those style of logos back in the new look and feel of the branding and the wayfinding signage in EPCOT. It's all color coded. It's got the new World Bold font. It's really beautiful and easy to read. And all of the pavilions have their little signet icon, emblem. It's really, really cute. So that's what you're going to tap in on. And then you'll be able to go into the pavilion. Now, something that you should know is there will not be a standby queue for some time.
At least at first.
If you remember with Rise of the Resistance
or Remy, this has been the case. So just to go over some dates and some terminology. Right now, the ride is open for guests who reserved an annual pass preview or who are DVC members, etc. On May 27th, the ride opens to the public officially, and at that time, and for an unknown amount of time, because Disney hasn't put an end date on this, but beginning May 27th, when the ride opens to the public, there is no standby queue. You'll only be able to ride if you purchase an individual Lightning Lane attraction, or if you, for free, register and get a spot in the virtual queue.
Now, we anticipate these to go really, really quickly, just like they have for Remy and for Rise of the Resistance before that. I think that Mickey and Minnie's might have used that at some point also. So you'll need to have a My Disney Experience app as soon as you can in the morning. You need, I think it's like 7 a.m. You can log on and you can sign up for a spot. They will give you whatever spot they have. It might be at 9 a.m. It might be at 9 p.m. But like you don't get a choice. It's not like in the old days with FastPass where it's like, is there anything available around 11:30? That's not happening. But free. And then if you don't get the free one, you can do the paid one with Lightning Lane as long as
there are still Lightning Lane spots available.
Yeah.
I can see a question already showing up. Stephen wants to know, how quickly does the ride go? We're going to get into all the specifics about that. I don't know the actual speed, like in miles per hour. Anecdotally, I'd say like as fast as Space Mountain.
Yeah, Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain fastness.
Yeah.
In that zone. It's not a rock and roller coaster fastness.
No.
But it feels great. It feels fast and wild in a very like safe way. So that is everything that you need to know about getting in through the magical doors into the world of Zandar Pavilion. Once you get in, there's a multi-stage queue, just like we've seen with Flight of Passage and Rise of the Resistance, or even, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
The queue is really great. So again, they're playing on this idea of an outer world showcase pavilion. So there's a lot of infotainment, there's a lot of educational stuff, and there's a whole story.
Yeah, and they tie in the story with the Guardians right away. So the background story is, before the Ravagers, is that what they are called? Yondu's crew?
Yeah.
What are they called? Yeah. Before Peter Quill was abducted, essentially, by Yondu and his crew, and not taken to his dad, Ego. Spoilers everywhere.
Yeah. Spoilers for the ride. Spoilers
when he was
for
a little
Guardians
boy, before he left Earth, Peter Quill went to EPCOT. It was so rad, all of that. It's so cool to go back to Earth and do EPCOT again, eat a turkey leg, all that fun stuff. And he's been teaching the Zandarians about Earth so that they would know how to present the information in ways that Earthlings would really connect to. So
they refer to Earth as Terra, and humans are Terrans. So the idea is that the Wonders of Xandar Pavilion is it's a cultural showcase. The Zandarians want to learn more about Earth, about Terra, and they also want to showcase their own culture and technology. So you enter the building into a very cool room called the Galaxarium.
I loved the Galaxarium. We stood in there for quite a long time.
There is a lot. So on the ceiling, it's kind of like a planetarium, but on a larger galaxy scale. There's a very cool screen on the ceiling that has a constantly changing, it has lights, it has narration. It shows you
Peter Quill is dancing up there. Then it shows you some scans of what Zandar looks like.
It shows you different planets and different galaxies and stuff. And
all sorts.
The whole while, so you enter the building and then there's this sort of double curved.
It's really hard to explain. And honestly, so being there for the media preview, we were not waiting in line. We could just walk right through it. So we actually stopped and set up the tripod. We were taking photos for the magazine, all of that stuff. But the very first time we walked through it, I just walked through the Galaxarium and I felt a little nauseous because it's like back and forth and back and forth and it's swirling around. You don't have to worry about that.
It's a spiral that kind of spirals in on itself.
Yeah.
It's very cool. The architecture of it is great. There's a really great wall texture that I think is going to be popular for people to take photos, a la the purple wall or the bubblegum wall or the moss wall.
Continuing the rich tradition of Walt Disney World walls.
So you make your way through. It's on a gentle ramp. You go through this sort of spiral through the Galaxarium. There's all this cool narration, cool video effects.
Yeah.
And then you make it into the next section of the queue, which is kind of like a
little tiny museum for so now that
art gallery.
Yeah, now that Xandar's told you about their planet and their planet's place within the galaxy, now it's time to learn more about Xandar culture and infrastructure and people. So there are a bunch of exhibits, and they're really cool mixed media exhibits. There are things where it's like a screen, but it's not a television.
It's not just a flat screen. Like the screens are sort of wrapped around pillars,
or they're projected onto like a glass or plastic.
It looks very futuristic. It looks like an advanced alien species that has mastered technology we don't have on Earth.
It's super magic. I don't know how they do it, but it's so like these floating screens of things happening. They have a cool maquette of some of the cities of Xandar and projections happening on them while they tell you a bit about it. Kind of like...
Yeah, if you guys remember, for a time there was the EPCOT Epcot experience, which was in the old Horizons building. No, not Horizons.
Odyssey.
The old Odyssey building, where they were talking about the future of the park, and they had this sort of cool 3D model in the center of the room, and it would have light projections and effects.
Coming.
Anyways, it reminds me of that, but it's a scale model of Zandar, of the capital city.
It reminds me also of that EPCOT experimental prototype community of tomorrow maquette that they have on the People Mover that you can see. So I love so much that they're tying in EPCOT history and Disney World history. One of those projection screens is actually them talking about the infrastructure of the city and how they decided to do these like radial, like a radial layout.
Hub and spoke design is what infrastructure nerds would call it.
Sure.
Which is an idea that Walt had for the original concept of Epcot. There's a nice tie-in. The ride and the queue are bursting with Easter eggs, whether they're Easter eggs to the film, to Disney, to Ellen, to the past attraction that was in the space. It's just chock full. I
actually really love, so Universe of Energy was originally slightly different than Ellen's Universe of Energy adventure. But like it was always about energy. This pavilion, it was like solar energy and recycling and all these other kinds of things. And energy plays a really big, we're going to get to it, but energy plays another big role in this ride, which is so cool to keep that pavilion is always staying in the same theme.
Exactly. So you go through the Galaxarium, you go through the next part with all of these great exhibits. They show off, there's examples of uniforms of the Nova Corps. There's all these different models of the various ships, the Star Blaster, the Milano, that's Peter Quill's ship from Guardians. There's, these lovely video clips. You get introduced to some new characters from the Nova Corps.
And you see the classic Guardians of the Galaxy characters, kind of like in like news interview situations.
Yeah, Peter Quill as a child visited Epcot, and you get to hear some of his memories and things he's excited to try out again. And then you make it into the first sort of show element.
And the first room that is the pre-show room, they're like, okay, come on in, crowd in, everybody. It feels a lot like the old Universe of Energy or many of the older attractions at Epcot. Crowd on in and like see what is happening next. It even has those kind of like almost carpety wall textures and things, which I'm not sure if they're actually carpet or if they're projections, but they looked great. So it's a video where Glenn Close, who's Nova Prime, she's the head of the Nova Corps on Zandar. She welcomes you. She explains what they're trying to do with the Zandar Pavilion, why she's happy that you're here for a demonstration today. And you get a safety spiel also about what's going to happen next. And then you get to go into the next pre-show room, which is pretty magical. At this point, they're going to ask you to put away all of your cameras before you go into the next thing. No iPhones out, no cameras out, no recording of any kind.
Obviously, that is not the case, because if you head over to YouTube or social like Instagram or Facebook, you can see tons of photos and videos of this part of the attraction.
Now, we were asked specifically to put our cameras away, so there's not a lot from us, but a lot of our media colleagues out there have them, so please go enjoy. I certainly am.
So you get in, so you've had your welcome video from Glenn Close, Nova Prime, and you get into the next room. The point why we are here today, the energy connection, is the Zandarians have developed, they call it the quantum generator.
Yeah.
The quantum generator is what allows them to travel through space.
Because they're light years and light years away. They would have never been able to get to us within our lifetime or their lifetime.
And as part of this cultural and technological showcase, they want to give us a look at the quantum generator.
Which is cool.
Which is very cool. This is also when we get to meet Terry Crews, who is a new character in the Guardians universe.
I'm so curious if he's going to show up in Guardians 3.
In Volume 3. I don't think so. Mostly based on the fact that Disney Parks blog was talking about how they filmed Terry just for the attraction.
Cool.
Like
Putty from Seinfeld in Patrick Warburton.
Sure.
It's
kind of the same role in the pre-show, the spiel. And there's a great effect at this point in the pre-show where you are in one room, and then thanks to the magic of the technology, you get transported into another room. I don't know how this effect is achieved, but you are standing in one room, the lights briefly go out, and then you are standing in a different, much larger room. It's quite an impressive effect.
When he says briefly, very briefly, like a second or two. It's very cool and unexpected.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really excellent storytelling, and it gets you really excited. At this point is when things start to go a little bit off course. The celestial Eson shows up.
You're familiar with Celestials if you've seen Eternals. He looks very similar to the Celestials portrayed there. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Kurt Russell plays Ego, who is a Celestial.
But a different kind of...
He looks like a human because he's changed his appearance, and he is a living planet, so there's that.
There's a good look at the Celestials in Guardians Volume 1 when the Collector is explaining about the Infinity Stones, for all you Marvel nerds out there. So Eson shows up, and he steals the quantum generator because he has his own nefarious goals with it. This is also when the Guardians arrive to help save the day. The original cast from the film is back. They filmed special new sequences for the ride queue. So Gamora, Star-Lord, Drax, Rocket, Groot, everybody's back.
Yeah. And so basically, Eson says, I need to go back in time and correct a mistake. I'm going to use this energy source. Like, you're super powerful. Make your own energy source. But he comes and steals this energy source. I'm going to rewind everything to get rid of the mistake that I don't want, which would erase us all. Nobody wants that. So Rocket then reprograms the escape vehicles that we're going to be using so that they can follow Eson through this like time vortex in order that we can catch up and hopefully defeat him at some point.
That's the rewind part of the title of the ride, the Cosmic Rewind.
So then it's like, pre-show's over, you go into another smaller queue section where you're in like a room that's like danger, evacuation, red light, scariness.
This is the last part of the queue. This is where you get filtered into your boarding zones. And then
there's double loading on both sides, and loading is smooth and easy. I am not going to hesitate to say this is my favorite ride vehicle of any Disney ride vehicle I've been on in any park around the world ever. I wish I had one in my living room. I would use it instead of a couch. I love it so much.
It's very comfortable. So a couple of things to talk about. So first off, this ride is what they are calling an Omni coaster.
First of its kind
First of its kind. So Omni, the reason Disney has named this the Omni Coaster, if you think about attractions like Haunted Mansion.
We actually did a whole article about this in our Haunted Mansion issue.
Imagineer Bob Gurr, who was a very famous Disney Imagineer, came up with this concept of the ride vehicle that is omnidirectional, that can move to help position your sight line so you see the best part of the attraction at the right time. Disney has taken that concept and applied it to this roller coaster track. So while your ride vehicle moves forward along the track, it also is capable of rotating 360 degrees to enhance the visuals of what you're seeing.
Think about Haunted Mansion when you're going down that hill into the graveyard. Your car is technically moving forward, but you have spun backward. This entire ride is not backward, just to be clear.
Yes.
I do see a question about do the audio animatronics line up with the screens. There are no audio animatronics on this ride, actually.
There are some physical objects, like in the ride, there are some set pieces that are built 3D objects, and everything else is screens and projections, but the mix of them is pretty seamless.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So
okay, so that's why it's called the Omni Coaster, but here's why Steph and I love it so much. Boarding is really easy. The platform that you're standing on is level with the entrance into the vehicle. So unlike, say, Test Track, where you have to step down into the car, or like Big Thunder Mountain has a lip that you have to step over. This is just a straight flat entrance.
It's really, really easy, and it's wide open. So if you think about something like Expedition Everest, it's a little bit easier to maneuver into the car, but you have like these overhead restraints that are coming into play. The seats are really individuated. Like I feel like I'm always getting my bag caught on something. This has
is great.
Like,
it opens and it's just a straight, like you go kind of sideways to shuffle in if you're on the far side, but it's
if you think about Midway Mania and how before the blasters come in towards you, it's really, really easy to maneuver through that vehicle. It's the same kind of idea. There are 2 seats in each, so it's a train of
There are 4 or 6 in each section. I think there are 12 rows total,
so
times 2. So there's 24 in each car. You sit 2 by 2. Everyone gets their own lap bar, which is really nice.
It's hard for us on Big Thunder Mountain. I'm sure many of you have encountered this if you're traveling with a child or another adult who's a different size to you.
Yeah.
Like I start to like fly out of Big Thunder Mountain. I have to hold on when I'm with Danny because my lap bar doesn't go.
But I can't pull it any tighter because I'm bigger than Steph.
Yeah.
And anyway, so individual lap bars, you sit 2 by 2. And it's individual seats, so like there's no, like you couldn't fit a third. It's not like on some rides where you can do like 2 adults or 2 adults plus a small child. It's 2 by 2 individual lap bars.
The lap bars have handles, so that you can like hold. You could be hands free, but you could hold on. I held on like the whole time. I think you probably do need to hold on. But it's really easy to hold on. Sometimes I have short arms, so sometimes I'm like reaching in front of myself on Big Thunder Mountain in order to hold on. There's none of that. It's so roomy. I haven't read about anyone who's experienced it saying that it wasn't comfortable or that they were poo sized and couldn't fit in.
Also, there's a good amount of space at your feet, which is great for your bags and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes on rides, you're like trying to jam your knapsack in between your. We had none of those issues. We love the ride vehicle. Boarding was great. It's super comfortable. Love the ride vehicle. Then your ride starts in earnest. There's some great, like, quippy, the sort of trademark humor that you come to expect, the kind of dialogue and interaction with the Guardians. It's all built into this part of the show. It's very funny. Drax has some great one-liners.
And then you go up the first lift hill, and when you get to the top of the first lift hill is where you first encounter, well, I guess the second time you encounter Isan, but he's there, he's telling you what he's going to do. He wants to erase everything, and your vehicle is rotating. You're looking at him, and your vehicle's rotating backwards so you can still continue to see him, and then the rewind starts.
That's the backwards launch part. It's quite thrilling. It's great. You're sort of in this tunnel, great light effects. It's very fast. Like you feel the wind.
But no G-forces.
No, not like Rock and Roller Coaster that like takes off like.
And your head's like.
Yeah, you're not like slammed back into your seat.
Could you say that again? Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
My watch, for some reason, thinks we're talking to it. I'm sorry.
Anyways, super fun ride. So that's the backwards part, and then the ride really kicks off. One thing that I found so incredible about this ride system is it's so smooth.
The only thing that's as smooth that I've ever been on is Tron in Shanghai.
Yeah, so like Space Mountain, it's an old coaster and it's been updated and it was built with different technology, but like you guys know that feeling, there's a lot of like vibration on Space Mountain, and Big Thunder's got kind of a rickety feel, but that's part of the like theme of Big Thunder Mountain. The best word I can use is gliding. Yes,
gliding's really good. And you don't get that hang time like you get in Tower of Terror either, but like it almost feels like that. It's so smooth, and like it's so rhythmic that you feel floaty.
Yeah. So the question in the comments is, did we get nauseated? And I want to talk about this because this is a brand new ride. You're going to be waiting a long time to ride it. This is an important topic. I personally did get quite motion sick. Not everybody feels this way. I still like the ride. I rode it twice, and that was enough for me on media preview day. I do want to ride it again, and I'm going to be researching my tips and tricks. For me, I am particularly sensitive to that 360 degree, like I won't ride the teacups. That will instantly make me nauseous. But other, like Big Thunder Mountain, I'm good to go.
Dumbo?
Tower, yeah, operators. And so the general rule of the sort of idea is that if you request to sit at the back of the car, and this is generally true of all roller coasters, sitting at the back of the train, you will feel the most intense. There's a little bit of extra pull. It feels a little faster. Sitting at the front will feel a little bit slower. And we were recommended by the cast member who was operating to sit in the middle. So in this case, you would request rows 5 or 6. Which would put you in the middle, which was their recommendation for motion sickness.
Yeah. I have read from other colleagues online that the front car makes it more easy for you to watch where the track is, which some people, not everybody has different motion sick tricks and tips, right? So some people find being able to locate the track useful in preventing motion sickness. I would say most people that we talked to at the event, some did get a little nauseous, some did get a lot nauseous, but I would say the majority of people didn't feel anything at all. So if you are prone to motion sickness, come prepared with all of the stuff that you want. Now, if we didn't have the chance to ride it multiple times and you just did it once, it would probably be okay. Also, if you didn't have to do your job for the next 12 hours and interview people and take photos, it might have been a little bit of a different story. I got a tiny bit motion sick, but I get just like a little bit of butterflies in my stomach with Star Tours. Flight of Passage is very, very difficult for me. If I do Space Mountain twice in a row, I get a little bit of butterflies, but most rides I'm okay on. This one, I think I would take a little bit of extra like motion sick medicine before my next ride.
Yeah. I want to be very clear. I don't want to discourage anyone from riding this ride. While I had some issues myself, I really think that it's worth it, the experience. And I don't want to scare people. I don't want to give anyone the wrong impression.
We are not medical professionals. We're just telling you what our personal experience was.
Yeah, I'm giving you my honest feedback of what happened to me. Like I say, I still want to try and ride it again because that was super fun, and I love all of the Guardian stuff. I love the queue design. The video content, the pre-show. It was all super excellent, tons of fun. But I did have a little bit of that motion sickness.
So that is our recap on motion sickness. Now, the actual ride itself. You're going to see all sorts of things, like a cool moon that you rotate around. You're going to see Milky Way galaxy. I assume they're projections. I truly don't know. Maybe it's an LED screen. Maybe it's something else. But
I think it's a combination, and that's why you can't quite figure out.
Seeing ESON and the Star Blasters and everything, the animations or whatever they are themselves are set on a pitch black background and screen. And then you're in this pitch black indoor environment. So what happens is it really just looks like it's totally popping out of nowhere. Like think about if like, let's use Guardians of the Galaxy example. If you go back to the 80s, if you go into like a room that's full of black lights and nothing but black lights and black light paintings, it looks like that painting's like coming off the wall out of nowhere at you, right? It's that same kind of idea. So, yeah.
That's what the ride is like. Then when you're done, you come back, you
gracefully exit
if you found your sea legs again. And actually exiting the ride is one of my favorite Easter eggs. So I was talking about how this is an outer world showcase pavilion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at this part of the ride, you are backstage. You are, if you were a Zandarian, if you were one of these cultural ambassadors to EPCOT, at this point of the pavilion, you would be backstage. And as you exit, there's a mirror beside the door with a note, and it's written in Zandarian, but there's enough Zandarian signage around that if you're paying attention, you can sort of piece together the translation. But it's reminding you to check your look because you're about to go on stage at EPCOT. And I just love it. It's such a great detail.
So that is what happens on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Now, this doesn't actually exit you directly into the gift shop, which is
new.
It's like right beside the gift shop.
The gift shop is called the Treasures of Xander. It's lovely. It's, as you would imagine, all Guardians of the Galaxy themed.
I do see a quick question from Lori. Is this the ride that you can go on the green and orange stages? No. So that is right next door, though. That's mission space, and you can choose the orange mission or the green mission. The green mission is a little bit milder.
There is only one mission. There's only one ride on Cosmic Rewind.
Well, there are 6 songs on Cosmic Rewind. So this is something that we haven't even talked about at all. The awesome mix music of Guardians of the Galaxy that everybody loves.
Since the film's music has been a huge part, the mixtapes, it's important to the story, it's important to the soundtrack, it's awesome. There are 6 different songs chosen at random for your ride. So you may get September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, Disco Inferno by The Tramps, Conga by Miami Sound Machine, Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears, I Ran by Flock of Seagulls, or One Way or Another by Blondie.
I didn't get the Blondie. I really wanted it. But the favorite one that I rode was Disco Inferno. It was much more upbeat. We had Conga and Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which are great songs, but they're a little bit slower and dreamier type of Guardians music. Yeah. And I thought the ride was really enhanced by a peppy, upbeat song.
Yeah. The songs are played at random, and it's not a mix. It's one song played through. So you're just going to have to go and see how many times you have to ride to get all the different songs.
Similar to Rock and Roller Coaster, which has different ride tracks, right?
Apparently, the Imagineers had a list of over 100 songs that they had to
like ride through on the attraction to pick the actual final ones, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So then you walk out and you turn to the side, and there is Treasures of Xander, the gift shop, which we were not allowed to shop in on the media trip, but we were allowed to go in and take a peek around. We actually have a great blog up for you with all sorts of photos that we took in there, so you can get a sense of what some of the merch is and start saving up your Disney gift cards to go spend there.
A lot of the merch has a really cool retro 80s
and retro 80s EPCOT theme. Like some of the things look like merchandise that you would have bought in EPCOT in the 80s.
Yeah. In addition to that sort of retro 80s stuff, there is some sort of cosplay Disney bound type clothing. Like there's a Star-Lord jacket that's very similar to what he wears in the film.
There's like hats and vests and things that are Nova Corps style.
So like, stuff like somewhere between cosplay and Disney bounding.
There's this like wild neon blue 80s fanny pack with the Guardians crest on it. Just love it so much. I know I have a lot of fanny packs, but hear me out. I think we need this one. We are children of the 80s.
I guess so. It's pretty cool stuff. They also have all the usual, pins and mugs and journals, little die-cast toys of the different spaceships, cool. All kinds of great stuff in the shop. There's a cool little Easter egg in the shop. They have a screen with the Broker, who is a character you might remember from Guardians Volume 1.
Something that that we didn't say about on rides. So we did briefly mention that there are some three-dimensional set pieces. Mostly, there's a three-dimensional moon and a Milky Way galaxy, but mostly these are these jump ports that you go through to get to different sections of the ride. Unlike Space Mountain, where you're in one big room all the time, I'm fairly certain you're in multiple rooms within the same one big building. And that certainly makes sense based on back in September, Danny and I were at a different media event where we got to go backstage into the show building where the roller coaster is. It wasn't done being built yet, but it was really cool. We got to see the track, but it was not a very large amount of the track. Now,
That's
having
true.
been on the ride at the time, I was like, whoa, this is huge. But now having been on the ride,
it's quite a large ride. The show building is enormous. It is one of the world's largest indoor roller coasters. It's very cool, very impressive.
And Photopass I want to talk about. So they have on-ride Photopass, which is very cool. And what you end up getting is just your car isolated, which I guess is too bad if there's some strangers in there with you, unless you make friends with them. But if it's your whole family, that's a really awesome on-ride photo.
So you know how we talked about how the ride vehicle rotates? We spoke to one of the Photopass, one of the people who works for Photopass at Disney, and they explained to us how they've developed a special capture system that rotates in sync with your vehicle, so they can get this really awesome picture, and you're not going to be all blurred and out of focus. It's very cool.
All of my photos have me doing this because I'm always worried on roller coasters that I'm going to lose my glasses, even though it's never happened. And it's really hard to get them off. I have the arms bent quite deeply, but I was like, oh, I don't think glasses. So those look great.
So that's your on-ride photo option. And then in addition to the on-ride, you can also do Photopass magic shots outside of the ride.
We actually have a blog on this too. So I think there's 4 different styles of them. There's a passport one. There's one with Groot coming in. There's one that's just a nice pose in front of the Star Blaster. And there's one that's similar to that, but they have some photoshopping happening up in the corner that looks like a jump port's going on. They look really good.
Yeah, super fun. We love Photopass photos.
Photopass has been killing it lately. All of the new stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but Haunted Mansion has a new on-ride Photopass that's come out. It's really cool. The stuff that they're doing over at Galactic Star Cruiser with the CSL portrait sessions is really great. The stuff that they're doing in the parks with the, I don't remember what it's called, but it's you can pay for a very specific 20-minute photo session in the park. I think it's Capture Your Moment it's called. I really like the cool new things they're trying with Photopass. I appreciate it.
Yeah, they're definitely upping their game. It's really good.
So if you want to ride Guardians of the Galaxy, like we said earlier, it is open May 27th to the public. You will not be able to do a standby queue at all. You will have to get a virtual queue. You'll have to sign up on My Disney Experience to get a virtual queue time slot. And if you can't get that, you'll have to pay for a lightning lane as long as they're available. So I would really recommend that you make a reservation at a Disney hotel or a Good Neighbor hotel that has those benefits like Swan and Dolphin or Swan Reserve, because you'll be able to make those reservations earlier and you're more likely to secure them. I would also suggest, especially if you have Park Hopper and you can go to other places, if you really want to ride this ride, make multiple EPCOT park reservations, because then you can go to EPCOT in the morning, you can always go to Magic Kingdom later in the day. That's going to be your best chance at being able to secure those.
Yeah. If you are interested in booking a trip to Disney, we always recommend our friends at Destination to Travel.
They do a wonderful job. They help us plan every single one of our trips on Disneyland, Disney Cruise, Disney World, all of them.
Star Cruiser.
Star Cruiser. Other than, we don't have another Star Cruiser upcoming yet, but we do have Disney World, Disneyland, and Disney Cruise trips booked with them right now. You can go find out. Their services are totally free, and Allie's going to put a link up for you so that you can go find out how to fill in a form, and they'll get in touch with you. They're super helpful and wonderful.
And that's about it. That's our recap. I mean, do you want to give a rating to the ride? Do you want to?
You know what I think will be fun. So I know a lot of people are like, what's it like? And there's like all these Frankenstein theories, like it's a little like Mine Train and Space Mountain and Tower of Terror and all the rides of the like. No, you cannot compare this to anything. This ride is unlike anything I've ever been on at any theme park, Disney or otherwise. But you know what we can compare it to? The other Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout at Disney California Adventure. For this, they took the Tower of Terror in Disneyland and they rethemed it. Joe Rohde actually was quite involved in the retheming of this. They rethemed it in a very short window and replaced what you have already said is one of your favorite attractions. So, Danny, what do you like better, Cosmic Rewind or Mission Breakout?
I prefer Mission Breakout.
Well, you do love Tower of Terror. I love them both, but
I love Cosmic Rewind. I think Cosmic Rewind represents a new level of achievement in Imagineering.
mm-hmm.
I think the Omnicoaster technology, I think the theming of the queue, it's all fantastic. The ride made me nauseous. I've got to ride it again. Maybe I won't react the same way, but Tower of Terror is one of my all-time favorite rides. And I think what they've done in California, the way they integrated the Guardians story into this ride mechanic that I have always loved, for me, that's, yeah.
I do love them both. I'm going to pick Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah. I
love it. Can't wait to ride it again and again and again and again, but over many, many, many trips when I can secure those virtual queues.
Yes.
I don't see any more questions coming in, but if you guys have questions or you're watching this on replay, pop them down in the comments. We promise that we will read them and get back to you with any information that we can have. And you can go find a lot more information over on our blog. Before we let you go, though, I do want to say, if you're interested in Imagineering and Disney World in general, now is the time to sign up for our print or digital subscription. Our June issue, you can only get the June issue if you subscribe by the end of this month, which is May 2022. So our June 2022 issue is all about Imagineering. It's got, oh, there went our light. It's got Galactic Star Cruiser. It's got all sorts of great things going on in it. History of motion simulators. And it's really, really special and not to be missed. But if you want more Guardians content, we'd already put that one to print before we went to the preview. So later this year, we're going to do a huge feature on Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you're a subscriber, you won't miss it.
That's right. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was super fun. We love catching up, telling you our thoughts about the ride. If we missed your question, we'll try to get to it in the comments. And thanks for spending your Thursday with us.
Bye.